What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Six Gaming Podcast. Filling in for your host, as always, it's Ron Klee. Now, I noticed something just now when I hit the start broadcast button. Apparently on YouTube, you're allowed to broadcast for up to 8 hours.
Ooh, 8-hour podcast.
I don't think we're going to hit that today. I only have one illustrious co-host today, and that is Pentherian. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? This is the Ron Klee. This is the Penth and Ron Klee show.
Yeah, we've done a few of these, haven't we?
We have done a couple
Just
of
the
these.
two of us. Yeah,
I think we should. We should look at our viewership for the Penth and Ron Klee show, and if we're better than everyone else, we should probably just go for it.
Yeah, I apologize for the condition of my workspace too. You can see I got a couple open boxes back there, but I'll show you what I got. And because I was having a little trouble, I was talking about my controller, my 360 controller before, or my Xbox One controller before, and how it was the USB cord was coming out. Well, I finally got me one of these. And this is an Xbox One wireless adapter. And what you do is it's just a USB stick. You plug it in your computer. You hit the wireless button on that thing. You hit the wireless button on the controller. And voila, you have an Xbox One controller plugged into your PC wirelessly, which is fantastic. It works like a charm.
$35?
25 actually.
No, it's not bad.
And the funny thing is that it also comes with a USB extension cord, which I don't even need. I'm just plugging it right into the front of my tower.
Okay.
So that's probably half the cost right there, knowing how those things cost. So thanks Microsoft. That's much appreciated. Anyway, we got a bunch of news today. Starting with something that's not really necessarily gaming news here. Google's come out with its latest a social media failure that's going to close in a couple of years. What is this about?
So Google Spaces is kind of like a groups thing. It's a little collaborative workspace. I guess it's probably in competition with like Slack or what's the one that's like Wunderlist, but for corporate groups, whatever that one's called.
Idea.
But I mean, you create a little space and you can make posts and to-do lists and stuff. And it's an interesting little collaborative workspace. But it doesn't do anything for like the average person. Like, for our Six Gaming Podcast, we use a Facebook group and we use some Discord and that's it. And I don't really see a benefit to this. Now it would be really good for like for college. If you're in college and you're in a bunch of group projects and stuff, and you create a different one for each of your group projects, that would probably be the ideal use for it. And then they also created this thing called Allo, as in like the worm in Labyrinth says, hello.
Hello. How you doing?
You say hello. No, I said hello.
Hello.
This is close enough. Anyway, it's not encrypted.
What?
Which I don't know why, or at least the last thing that I saw about it was not encrypted. So that's useless.
Good.
So Google has pushed out two pretty useless products in the last week or two. I don't know what they're doing, especially because Hangout still doesn't work right all the time. And Google Voice could be an amazing product integrated with Hangouts, and it still isn't. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I know they're doing something right because they make a butt ton of money, but
they don't make a butt ton of money off of these failed products. I can tell you that much.
Right. They could make the products they have that are pretty good into really great products, and they keep making mediocre products.
Yeah, it's interesting though. It's like I actually just went in and created a Six Gaming space, and you can share things, but you can share like links, you can share photos, you can write a post, but I don't think you can do like a collaborative document or anything. That would be like a Google document would be the suitable thing in there.
Maybe like what would we call that? Like a wave. It'd be like a Google Wave.
Man, I miss Google Wave.
It was awesome.
I that's one of the things that I wish they didn't get rid of. Google Buzz, that was bad. I'm glad they got rid of it.
And whatever the other social thing it was before Google Plus, there was another one too.
Oh, geez, what was it?
I don't know.
Buzz. There was Buzz.
There was Buzz, but there's something else that they did very briefly.
And then there was also the Google Reader. Who can forget that? Just unceremoniously got rid of. It's just like, come on.
I use Feedly now. It's pretty good.
Yeah, Feedly's the main thing there. But yeah, it's just like Google comes out with all these promising things sometimes, and they just don't give it enough support or enough developer time to make it really good.
Mhm.
Or maybe the idea is just half baked. Like I think that was the case with Wave. Wave wasn't thought all the way through.
Well,
Wave just had this great idea and didn't really know what to do with it.
One of the other problems with Wave was that what they've had lots of problems with in the past, less so now. Now they just put out less interesting products. But I wanted to do Wave, and I waited 4 months to get Wave.
I waited a lot longer than that.
Yeah, and by the time there were enough people on it that were interested in it, they were shutting it down.
Yeah, it's like
they're like, oh, it hasn't had a good adoption. It's like nobody can use it because there's no invites.
Exactly. Well,
onward.
Back to gaming here. We actually have two major releases to talk about. First, one that's already happened. Doom has hit shelves or Steam.
What year is it?
I know, right? It's 2016. And Doom's actually come out to a lot of people who were looking down on it in the beta have come around pretty good, saying that Doom wasn't as bad as their first impression was, and that the single player campaign, all the gory, but it's more of it's not like the jump scare type.
3.
Yeah, like 3 was. It's more just gory, silly fun, and definitely check that out. Apparently they have I think, was it Shosan telling us about the homage? Oh, no, it wasn't Shosan. It was actually a friend of mine from Fists of Heaven. I actually met with the Fists of Heaven group this past Thursday, actually. And one of the guys said, yeah, it's kind of funny because you got to go in and there's like these locked doors and you have to use these key cards to get through the doors that you like rip off of a dead guy's arm. And they're red keys, yellow keys, and blue keys. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm kind of amused to see that coming back. So yeah, Doom, definitely check that out if you're a fan of the series at all, or you just like first-person shooters in general. Speaking of first-person shooters, if you're more of the Team Fortress type, well, you already know that Overwatch is going to be released this Tuesday to the masses. And to celebrate their release, did you see what they were doing with they kind of surprised a lot of people. They put up statues in places like Hollywood and Paris. Hollywood got a Tracer one. I know that.
Yeah, I saw they're 15-foot tall.
Yeah.
Basically, they're action figures.
Yeah, I finally gave in. I pre-ordered.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait a little bit.
I'm probably gonna play it a little bit, and that's largely because I actually know a wide variety of people that are gonna have it and are going to be wanting to play it, and I'm going to be terrible at it, and it's going to be all sorts of fun. But yeah, Overwatch Tuesday, definitely check it out. It's playoverwatch.com, is our website. And of course, I found this tidbit interesting. I think you called this.
I probably did.
I think you did. Blizzard has decided that all World of Warcraft expansions up to and including Warlords of Draenor are now free with the base game.
But that's kind of all. It's kind of always been true, right? This always happens. Maybe I'm crazy,
not free. They'll like bundle all the expansions for like $10, or get the game and all the expansions for whatever the base game is plus another $10.
I feel like it was usually once the next expansion was out, but it would like during Pandaria, if you bought the game, then it was everything up through Kata. Yeah. It didn't include the current expansion. And then when Warlords came out, then Myths was included when you bought the base game. But now, before Legion is out, it includes that. Now, there's not that much time until Legion, right? It's like October or something. I don't even know or care anymore.
Yeah, what was the Legion release date? We've covered this before. It got August 30th.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's 3 months and change.
Yeah. So I mean, 3 months. If you've never played it before, you're not going to get a whole lot done in 3 months. I mean, you can get power leveled, or you can get a boost, and you can run through the dungeons and stuff. But it's not substantially better than if they just gave you Warlords after Legion launched. So I mean, it's nice of them to do, but I don't think it's going to do a whole ton for sales.
Now, and the other thing with that is, of course, that's more aimed at people that are wanting to get back into the game that have been out for a few expansions.
Right.
So now they don't have to buy all the expansions at all. They just buy Legion and they're back into the game.
Yeah.
The thing is that if let's hypothetical situation here. Here's who it's not for. If you're the type of person that likes to play the Game of the Year edition, like you and Brox are very much into that, you can't really do that with World of Warcraft, because by the time you come around and start playing, once this version's been released where it's all free, no one's playing it, or you're so far behind the curve, no one wants to bring you into their group.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's only for getting the returning players. I think it's the only purpose.
Well, I mean, if you quit during whatever Wrath,
mm-hmm.
and you're like, I kind of want to try, but I don't feel like buying the new expansion, now you automatically have it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I assume that's if you own the game, you have all the expansions.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get all the people who haven't bought the most recent expansion, because now they automatically have it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of cool that they're doing it, but at the same time, who does it benefit? Not current players. So, but they're doing something. I mean, obviously their subscriber numbers have been dropping and dropping and dropping. They want to do something to reverse that, and this is what they're doing. So
I'll be right back. So talk about League, because I don't care.
Talk about League. All right. So I will actually talk about League. I only have a little bit to talk about with League, though. And that was the drumming of SKT taking out CLG 3-0 to win MSI. Now, the interesting part about that was that it wasn't that CLG wasn't trying. It's not like if you watch the SKT versus Royal Never Give Up, the difference between that last game and CLG's last game, Royal Never gave up essentially. They got shut out. They got no towers, no objectives, no kills, nothing. Whereas CLG, they were playing that game 3 to win. They were doing all types of crazy moves to try to get back into the series. And SKT just outthought them. They showed why they're the world champions. And despite having a really bad group stage, SKT really put their foot down when it counted and managed to take out CLG. Now, this was, we have to say again, this is North America's first time in a final in a major Riot-sponsored tournament. So the fact that they got that far is pretty amazing. So SKT, MSI champions, it's the first time they've won the MSI or All-Star game or whatever you want to call it. It's their first one of those, but I'm sure SKT is going to continue to be looking scary. We also have a little bit of Rocket League to talk about. Rocket League had their North American Qualifier 1 finals today with iBuyPower Cosmic. They were the presumptive best team in North America going into this tournament, and they came out of it winning the final series 4-2 over Kings of Urban. Kings of Urban put up a great fight, but that last game, iBuyPower just stomped them. It was like 7-1 or something like that. It was ridiculous. They called it Braziling them, which was kind of amusing. And then, of course, we have the European Qualifier 1. Their finals, the Final Four actually is tomorrow. They played a Final Four in NA today as well. But Europeans Final Four is tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's noon Eastern. That's at twitch.tv/Rocket League. And you're back just in time, because we're going to talk about Oculus and open sourcing. Mm-hmm. What happened?
So
here?
I just recently saw this, so I didn't have a lot of time to look into it deeply. But basically, Oculus has been promising from the beginning that they will be more or less open source, right? Like if you buy something for Oculus, then it will be set up in such a way where you can play it on a Vive or a Gear or whatever other VR system comes out later. And it wasn't really set up that way to start. And they're like, oh, it's gonna be like that. But right now we just have our special store, and it's just because we don't have all the stuff set up for cross portability or whatever.
Right.
So this guy created this thing called Libra VR. It's he's Libra VR. The product was called Revive, and it's on GitHub. And he created this tool. Well, Oculus pushed out an update that killed the tool and basically nothing else. So it's clear they were trying to stop him from creating this open source, which he did by himself, right? Oculus has all of the Facebook developers on it, right? Like they've got all this manpower and they haven't done it.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
the very next day, the dev rebroke it, and beyond that, because of the way they patched it, and this you're going to have to look up a little bit on your own, but they basically he makes it with his tool now possible to actually pirate games. Like that wasn't his intent, and his original tool didn't let you pirate games, but the new crack allows it somehow because of the way that Oculus had patched his first thing. So
very interesting. I'm actually going to read a little bit from the GitHub here. And the 0.5.2 release, which was released less than a day ago, this was like 18 hours ago. He says, quote, "I really didn't want to go down this path, but I feel there is no other way. This release bypasses the Oculus platform DRM in Unreal Engine games, so the entitlement check doesn't fail because the headset isn't connected. Because if you use another headset, obviously you're not going to have an Oculus connected. So he says in bold text, I still do not support piracy. Excuse me. Do not use this library for pirated copies."
Yep.
You know what's going to happen.
Well, of course, and
the internet. I mean, come on.
Right, and but I think he's sincere in this. Like, sometimes it's like, oh, this tool is not for this homebrew isn't for pirating. It's so that you can play the shitty game that you developed. I mean, it's very clear some tools are for pirating. Like this one, I honestly think he just wants to let people choose their headset, and hand was forced because of what they did.
Yeah, but this is going to start getting into very muddy legal grounds, and I can easily foresee some type of cease and desist or lawsuit coming up very shortly. Because
the crazy thing is that, I mean, Facebook is probably putting out, what do you think? The team supporting Oculus is maybe 5 to 10 people.
I think you're way underestimating that number.
Sorry, this specific part of Oculus, the DRM and so not Oculus as a whole, but like 5 to 10 people in the department that specifically manages this kind of thing.
Way underestimating. No, just knowing how big software works. Okay. You may be right. It might be compartmentalized like that, but I'd be willing to bet this is a broader effort.
Okay, so we'll say 10 people at a bare minimum. Okay, 10 people, a fully burdened compensation package for them in Silicon Valley. The least expensive of them is $100,000 in cost at the very least. So maybe they're making 70, 80 as a fresh out of college guy, and plus benefits and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking at the bottom floor of this, $1 million in pay to the engineers that are working on this. And a dude cracked it like 3 hours after they pushed the patch.
Yeah,
and it's not
DRM's not that hard to crack though. Usually.
Right, but what I'm saying is, instead of fighting with this guy, they can just be like, yeah, okay, we'll enable cross compatibility. Like,
yeah,
they're spending a lot of time and money fighting this when it's always a losing battle. It's always a losing battle, and it's not worth fighting it when you promise to make it available yourself.
And how much money are they going to spend on shutting this guy down?
And how much money are they going to lose on now that this is out? Everyone's going to be like, well, shit, no, I'm not buying an Oculus.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So well done, Facebook. And you kind of saw this coming when Facebook bought it. It's like, what does Facebook want with this?
Yeah.
It just seemed like a bad marriage at the time, And now we're seeing we're seeing the relationship blossom into something terrible. So there you have
Well,
it.
I mean, I know what they wanted. They wanted telepresence, right? Like you can have a meeting with somebody in a imaginary boardroom. I mean, that's where it was going, and that's where I
That's
think the
not
technology is going. But
That's not where Oculus was going to begin with.
no, that's not where it was going. That's why Facebook wanted it.
Yeah. But
Hey,
anyway,
what's up, Brando Blue?
yo. All right. So that does it for the news for today. And tell me about what's this about getting some views?
Well, for me,
Yeah.
so on my cooking, which is it's on Facebook, fb.me/ I almost said 6gaminggg. That's us. fb.me/primal meal plan, Patreon primal meal plan. When I get to 100 subscribers, sorry, I said 100 views. When I get to 100 subscribers, oh, he left already. Well, fuck you, Brando Blue.
Oh,
But if you
damn.
can see this, then you're still cool.
Maybe he just left chat. I don't know.
It could have been. Anyway, so 100 or 100 subscribers, you can name your channel on YouTube. So at some point we will be youtube.b/6gaminggg. I have no idea. I got this sudden spike earlier this week of like 1,000 views in a day out of nowhere.
Jeez.
So
Someone must have linked you.
yeah, someone. And it looks. I mean, it looks like most of the traffic was coming from Reddit, but I'm usually the one who links my own Reddit thing, and I couldn't track where it was coming from. So that was kind of cool, but I wish I could repeat it, right? Like, when you get a huge spike in traffic, you're like, well, where did that come from? Because I want to keep doing that.
Because that's your subreddit, right? Primal Meal Plan.
Yep, it's so that's also reddit.com/primal meal plan or
/r/primal meal.
R. Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, etc. So that was cool. I got a bunch of subscriptions out of it. I hope that it eventually results in some Patreon pledges. So far, I make all of $9 a week, but that's
$9 a week more than you had.
Yeah. So if you're watching this and you want to eat healthy, follow me on YouTube and send me $1 a week.
I want Frosties. But yeah, I was going to mention, of course, I had a recent spike in Twitter followers as well. That came from a newsletter that they did the contest. I did not win that contest, by the way, sadly, to win an Oculus Rift. And one of the ways you could enter was by following twitch.tv/Ronclay. I was like, hey, thanks, guy. I didn't even have to ask for it. It just happened. So very cool. It's probably something like that. I bet it's something that someone saw something, one of the videos thought was cool and linked to it, or maybe it's someone you know that put it somewhere important without you knowing. So many things it could be.
Stuff blows up crazy sometimes. Like, have we talked about ASMR on the podcast at all?
What is it?
So there's this thing called ASMR. It is autonomous sensory meridian response. Yeah.
Wikipedia.
It's basically like a tingly in your head that's induced by certain sounds or activities or whatever. Have you ever like totally zenned out when you were getting like your hair washed, or if somebody's foreign accent makes your head feel weird or something? It's not something everyone gets. There's no scientific explanation.
Some accents give me a headache, but that's not the same thing, I'm sure.
I like that. That might be misphonia. That's like the opposite.
I love the name of that too.
Yeah.
Misphonia.
Yeah. Anyway, there's this weird thing, and it's there's like a YouTube subculture dedicated to it. And if you don't get the feeling, it must be the weirdest shit in the world, because it's videos of men and women like crinkling paper in front of the camera, or like pretending to whisper in your ears. Like, it seems super weird, but if you get this feeling, then it's like, it just is a really nice like Zen feeling. I don't know. I can't describe it. It's something that I realized that I got when I had a African teacher in college that like when he talks, like I was like, my head's like buzzing. It's really weird. And it's like I didn't know what it was, and it was hard to concentrate because it was like a nice feeling, but I didn't know what it was. Thought I was having an aneurysm. Anyway, so the point is, PewDiePie linked to an ASMR girl randomly during one of his streams or videos recently. And she had already been blowing up in the ASMR community. She went from like 0 to 20,000 subscribers or something like that in a couple weeks. Well, after he linked her, like everything, blew up because of course there's 13-year-old boys who don't even know what they're looking at. So
Exactly.
I hope they don't chase her out of YouTube, but that's anyone can link you at any time, and it can be the weirdest of places. So
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, that's this. I might look this up a little later. It's kind of an interesting concept.
Hey, so it's when I talk like this, and Sully really likes it. That's what it is. It's Bob Ross is a
No. This is clearly describing tingling in the head, not tingling in other body parts.
Oh, okay.
That's something different.
I didn't know there was that much tingling going on over there at the Clifford residence.
Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to bring up.
This was for you, Sully.
Yeah, right. I just wanted to bring up, of course, PAX Prime has rebranded itself as PAX West. That is coming up the first weekend in September. 6 Gaming may have representation.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
You should bring a banner.
Well, the thing is that I may be in a booth.
Oh.
So.
Well, you should hang like a battle
really,
standard with the 6 Gaming logo in front of your booth.
Can't really get too much into details, but it'd be a pretty neat experience because I haven't been to any major gaming convention outside of BlizzCon. I've been to a lot of BlizzCons, so yeah.
Cool.
So there's that. But that's all I wanted to add. So unless you got anything else,
nope.
I'm gonna ask, hey Pantherian, what you playing?
Welcome to the third half of the show.
Show's favorite part.
The show's favorite part. We haven't talked about it, but Shitty Minutes is actually show's favorite part of the show.
No,
but
news.
What you're playing is show's favorite part of the show.
But news is show's favorite part of. No, his favorite part of the show is news. Like
Good
that.
news, everyone.
Yeah, and that too. That's his favorite part.
So still playing Crypt, and I suck at it.
How far you got?
Still on 2. I think I've gotten to 2-3.
Yeah, I remember watching you play. It was like a week ago or something.
Yeah.
And you had a really hard time with the Skeleton Knights.
Yeah, I'm not patient, and I'm taking a while to kind of. I'm getting better, but I get flustered. I should probably play Bard a little bit and get better.
Definitely be helpful. But like the Skeleton Knights, I mean, for those that haven't played Crypt, basically the Skeleton Knights move every 2 beats, but the Skeleton Knights in particular have a shield, and you have to bash through the shield for 1 turn. Hitting the shield knocks them back a square, but it resets their movement, and they will move on the next beat. So what 10th is doing, he's coming up and hitting the thing, knocking it back, and then jumping into it and gives it a hug. And
it gives me a spiky hug with a sword.
Yes, pretty much. It hurts. So
yep.
I mean, that's just like I was watching. It's like, oh, he's gonna figure this out soon. He's gonna figure it out. Maybe I think he figured out. No, he did it again. So
I need to learn how to do the dragon dance too.
Oh yeah, the dragon dance. That's actually really only use it when you're in a tight space where you don't have a lot of vertical movement to take care of the dragon. But yeah, it's pretty good. But I mean, there's a lot of tricks to the game that you pick up as time goes on, and it's like I'm still even learning stuff. I learned something called the Azuma Strat. I'm sure you're familiar with King Konga.
I have gotten there one time.
So King Konga, basically, you have to get him off of his throne and then kill him. And the way that you're supposed to do it is by killing everything in the conga line. kill all the little zombies. Once all the zombies are done, he gets pissed off and comes off his throne and comes to kill you. Well, there's an alternate way of doing it, and it takes advantage of the way that bombs work. So what you need to do is you need to go right up to the base of his throne, plant a bomb, move to the right, and on the same beat that you move to the right, you move right again. Now, what does that do when you double tap? You miss a beat. Miss a beat pisses off King Konga, doesn't take care of his throne, but he comes off the throne. And he'll start chasing you. You move right again, and the bomb explodes.
Right.
So what happens before the bomb explodes is King Konga goes diagonally and is right next to you, but he's also right next to the bomb. So there's the bomb, there's Konga, there's you. And the bomb explodes. And the way the bomb works is that it goes in a pattern. The upper left square gets bombed first, then the top square, then the upper right, and then the left, middle, right, lower left, bottom, lower right. What this effectively does is it blows up the throne first, and then blows up King Konga. All in the same turn. And you have to you can't get a flawless doing it, but it's a quick strat to take care of it. So it's a complete aside. But I mean, there's so many advanced strats in that game, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Playing a little Rogue Legacy. I'm on like my bazillionth generation and not doing very well. So it's one of those things where it's like I'm finally learning to get really patient in Dark Souls, and can't get my patience into any other games at the same time. So so to that end, I have been playing Diablo 3, where I can just run into things and kill them by looking at them. Yes. Of course, just before the stream, I tried a new build and died immediately. So I'm gonna have to work on that.
Yeah, that's how it goes. So it's like once you got to figure out how the build works before you really get involved with it. But usually once you figure it out, it's pretty badass. So there's that. Anything else? Like that. All right. So my games of choice lately, Crimson Land, have been continuing that. Of course, I haven't played a whole lot last week because I was in Houston for most of last week. But before I left, I played some Crimson Land. I got halfway through the medium difficulty campaign. And when I say halfway through, I perfected them too. When you don't get hit, you get a star. So I've got 30 stars out of 60 missions, which is pretty good. And then, of course, Crypt of the Necrodancer. I've been playing the heck out of that. And I even got a chance to play that in Houston Tuesday night, my first night there. I was like, okay, let me test the internet here. Okay, it seems pretty stable. Let me see if I can't stream. So I start streaming. Halfway through the stream, my stream cuts out. And I'm playing Cadence, and I'm just running Cadence for speed, and I'm doing terrible. I only won two games. Well, the second game, I didn't even realize it was 6 minutes 44 seconds, and so I'm sitting there saying, hey, typing on Twitter, and like, hey, looks like I can stream here, even though I only have to stream at 800 kilobits per second. It's bad, but I can do it. And I got the little score bot that tweets out whenever someone improves their best time. It says, Runkley has improved his time to 6 minutes and 44 seconds. Like, wait, that was my best time? Like, and then, of course, I come home and try to record it so I can upload it to YouTube, and it desyncs in the middle of the replay. Thanks, game. Thanks. So I also, at the airport on Friday, San Francisco's been pretty windy, so the airport has been half closed. Like half the runways are like not working. So all kinds of delays coming to San Francisco. And my flight, of course, got delayed. So to pass the time, I played Bolt, which is the double time character, which, by the way, is transgender. Is a transgender character. I did not know that until recently. But Bolt is the double time character. You have to move twice as fast as any other character in the game. I've been trying to play
Coda.
Yeah, Coda is as well. I've been trying to play Bolt Deathless, and I did a personal best of 6 in a row. Now, it's kind of funny because some guy just leapfrogged ahead of me not too long ago, and I just leapfrogged him back by like 1 zone. So nice. I've got like 6 and finished in zone 2, and he's got 6 and finished in zone 1. So I got ahead of him, and I'm still been playing it. I had a really dumb death earlier today. I was at 6 wins. I was in zone 1. I activated a blood shrine to get a blood weapon, and it gave me what I wanted. I got a blood spear. I'm like, oh yeah, this is perfect for Bolt. And then I bombed the shrine, not knowing what bombing an activated blood shrine drops. and picked up the item. Well, first of all, when you hit a blood shrine, your health drops to half a heart. So for the next 10 kills, you're doing infinite damage. Well, when you bomb an activated blood shrine, you get a crown of thorns.
Which does damage, I bet.
Half a heart of damage.
Mm.
Rip Deathless says like, oh man. Okay. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. Oh, I talked about this. This is an Xbox thing here. Little Xbox adapter. It's pretty neat. Works pretty good. And then the final thing I've been doing, of course, Diablo 3. I actually got like about 10 to 15 Paragon levels today alone. Just been casually doing 70s. Never done 70s in any other season, but this one I'm just like running them for fun. So just leveling up a bunch of gems. Of course, I'm trying to get my ancients.
Mhm.
Going to be using those in my ancients so I can get some more intellect on my gear. So yeah, that's about it. Like I said, I haven't been doing a whole lot. There's a lot of things I want to play. I want to play Gungeon. I want to play a lot of other things. So hopefully this week I'll get some more stuff. Yeah, that does it for Shosan's favorite part. And well, then we'll move on to Shosan's favorite part of the show, which normally is a 6 gaming roundtable, but this is more like a cross table. There's only 2 of us here. And I have written here, why hasn't Shosan picked a roundtable topic yet? Oh, crap. Do we not have a topic?
No, we don't have a topic.
Crap.
Hey, chat. What should we talk about?
Uh-oh, this should be good.
We've talked about what's the best boss ever. Have we talked about that?
I don't know if we have.
I feel like we need more people to talk about something like that. Like
I know what my answer would be.
Is it the Necrodancer?
No.
Is it the Lich King?
No, it's the level 7 Descent boss. They got to throw smart missiles at you all day.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. Anyway.
Apparently this one time at band camp, Wet Jinx did something.
I don't think we want to know what he did.
Or she. Who knows?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean...
Okay, how about that? What is we can talk about both those things. What is the game that you are most excited about that has been announced? And then
the sad part is that I think our answers are going to be the same.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah. I
would also say Mass Effect 4.
Oh, Mass Effect 4, that's a good one.
Is another one that I'm looking forward for.
Yeah, I'm just really afraid, and I was talking with the Fists of Heaven guys about No Man's Sky, and we're just really afraid this is going to be a really dull game.
It's going to be Spore again.
It's just going to be, go in, you name things, you take off, and you go to another planet, you name more things, and...
Yeah, I think it might be... I'm going to wait for it to be out to really reserve judgment, but I think that it might be a game for relaxing. It's not going to be a huge action game. It's going to be like Minecraft.
Right.
Or like maybe a little bit like FTL, right? Like you kind of, it's not going to be a roguelike, but like it's kind of just a chill game. It's not going to be a crazy first-person shooter where there's a huge storyline. You're going to find stuff. You're going to build stuff. Or what was that game? Escape Velocity. Remember Escape Velocity?
Vaguely.
You started in a little tiny shuttle and you could trade stuff between planets and you could upgrade your ship and eventually you could basically have a carrier with a whole fleet inside and take over planets and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it might be a little bit like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No Man's Sky, basically, the way I see it is kind of like a 3D version of Starbound. The way Starbound's turned into, except without the quests.
Yeah,
but I mean, there may be a storyline. There may be quests to the game.
Yeah.
We don't know yet. There's been not a whole lot said about the game outside of what they've shown on like what's his name show. Can't think of the guy's name. Colbert.
Yeah, there has been. I don't remember if it was on Colbert or something else recently. There was an article that kind of gave some more information about it. Battlefield 1. I think that's pretty cool. I can't believe that there haven't been more World War I fighters.
Yeah, it seems like it's either World War II or something futuristic. That's usually what it goes to. But yeah, Battlefield 1 coming in October. I'm not a big Battlefield guy myself, but I know a lot of people who are that are probably going to get into this pretty quickly.
Yeah, Call of Duty as well, and
Well, Call of
I
Duty's over here.
I know, but so I mean, Battlefield and Call of Duty are kind of, they're like the competitors.
And then the one that you mentioned, did you say Halo 4?
No,
What'd you say?
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect 4.
No, I'm just
Now-
saying because Sam Grizzle was thinking about thoughts about just about the game as a World War I genre, because there aren't that many. So I think it's cool that there will be one. I'm curious if they're going to make it really like really true to World War I stuff, or if they're going to make it more interesting.
Yeah. And then you had mentioned Mass Effect 4. Do you think they've learned their lessons from Mass Effect 3?
Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm really curious now what they're going to do with it, right? Like Mass Effect 4, is it going to be set in the future? Is it going to be set in the past? Is it going to be in a different galaxy concurrent with the Shepard saga? Like, where's it going to be? Because if it doesn't have the same characters, then what makes it Mass Effect other than the playstyle? Or is that okay? I mean, is that fine? If all they have is like you have multi-tools and there's Lost Reaper ship or so. I mean, they could use the world and have it be almost totally unrelated.
Yeah, and there's been games that have done that before that have been all right. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing with the whole their Mass Effect 3 ending where you don't have choice as to, I mean, they give you the false impression of choice, and then the ending is like, oh no, you didn't really have choice. It ends the same way. I think they need to learn from games like the original Warcraft, for instance, where you could play through the game and come out with different endings depending on which side you played. But when the next game was released, only one of those stories was actually canon.
Right.
And I think something like that's okay.
Yeah, well, that's what if it's set after the events of 3, then there's going to have to be some canon ending to 3 that 4, unless they're crazy and they.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be like the way that you chose the beginning in 1, where it's like, oh, I'm a hero of the Blitz, or you were whatever. Like, you can kind of choose your background through discussion. So they could make the decision made in 3 into just kind of a little bit of backstory for 4, because it would be so far removed from the galaxy that it doesn't even matter what happened. It's just in some comment somewhere.
Yeah. White Junks was mentioning the games like World Warships, World of Tanks. I remember Caterpellius and Rasmus were pretty big into World of Tanks.
Oh, they were crazy into World of Tanks.
Yeah, those guys really, and I think we actually had I know we had Rasmus on the show. I think we had Caddy on the show a couple times in the old series. And I remember they got me into World of Tanks, and I was just playing awfully, and I was just getting wrecked every time. And then there's this one map where there's these buildings, and you can kind of hide behind a building, and shoot through the window and stuff. And I got 3 kills before I died. I was like, very awesome. But yeah, I just didn't like the way that the game progressed. I didn't feel it was very intuitive, but maybe that's just me. Was not a World of Tanks fan, but there are a lot of people that love that game and swear by it. Yeah. The Veg loves that game too. He was very much into it. I don't think he's liked how it's gotten with the way that you get the premium tanks. But
I know nothing about it, but I think every game is like that.
Yeah, if you remember, imagine if League of Legends, for instance, had champions that you could only buy with money.
Yeah.
It would be
not just skins, but actual champions.
Not just skins, but actual champions. So it's kind of that way. So, and he's not liking how that went, but yeah, I mean, and then of course, I mean, I got to give shout outs to the 6 Degree of Freedom universe with Descent Underground and Overload. With Descent Underground's already actually in development, and you can actually get an early access copy on Steam now. Nice. Overload's going to be coming out next year. Early next year, like first quarter or second quarter, something like that, with the multiplayer expansion coming at the end of the year, which I think that's really cool. And even I mentioned on a previous show, I haven't heard a whole lot about it, but Sublevel Zero is going to have either DLC or an expansion, and
Not bad.
I've heard rumors they're coming to consoles, Xbox and PlayStation 4. No confirmed word on this yet, but
I mean, dual analog stick and make it work.
yeah, I just look at a controller here, and I just cannot figure out how you'd get 6 degrees of freedom to work on it. I mean, you only have so many fingers,
Right.
and you have to control.
But aren't both of them motion sensitive?
Huh?
Isn't it motion sensitive?
The controller, no.
But they don't have gyros in them?
No, there's no gyros in these.
Oh.
So I mean, if it had gyros on it, it might be a little better. But I mean, you have to consider you have 6 completely different controls that you could be activating at any given time, just to move, and then you have to worry about firing.
Mm.
So I mean, that's a lot of buttons that you could potentially be pushing at once. It works with like keyboard, mouse, or as I managed to make it work with all keyboard, and then of course joysticks were made for that kind of thing.
Right.
But I mean, it's really difficult to get that working on a controller like that.
It'll be 4 degrees of freedom.
Yeah. It seems, but I mean, all these games, Descent, Underground, Overload, they're saying they're going to be catering to these controllers.
Yeah.
So there's that. It's very interesting that there's actually, and I've actually seen people play with them. They're not very good, but they can play with them. I mean, they could probably do a single player mission just fine. Yeah.
Well, maybe then maybe they'll just match make between people who are using them.
Yeah, that could be it too. But I would have to. I mean, the only controller that's ever been used successfully in a 6 degree freedom environment is the old Space Orb that's not made anymore. So there was a 3D
Space
mouse. Orb. Yeah, Space Orb. Look that up. That's a 90s. That's a 1990s relic. Space Orb 360 is.
I have a space ball that I use. It might be made by the same.
This is Space Tech?
Oh, this was actually a game.
Oh yeah, this was for 3D games.
Yeah, I have a space at work. I use what's called a space ball. It's made by 3D Connection, which is a subsidiary of Logitech, and it's for 3D modeling. And you can it's just like a hub, and you hold it, and you can fly around you can either fly around your model or make your model fly around depending on how you set it up.
Yeah, there's been other attempts at 3D mice, like the 3D Connection. I can't remember the name that Descent Underground was plugging, but their Kickstarter ended up failing, which is too bad. But I mean, I really think that there is the potential for a controller to work in a 3D environment, but is there a market for it? That's the question. 6 degree of freedom is a very niche market. So there's that.
Yep.
Anyway, I don't know. I think
that's it.
I think we can call this a show. Hopefully, the other slackers that aren't here picking up. Captain Damien, he got called to work.
Yep.
Show apparently had wife aggro. Veg is having headache or whatever, but not migraine. But Coles is filming, I'm sure.
Probably.
But I think that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you guys for watching. Definitely appreciate everyone in chat for stopping by. And any final thoughts?
Try not to spill 450 degree burning hot oil on your arm.
Show that again. I want to get a good shot of it here. Oh my God, that looks terrible.
Burn. There's actually a really disgusting, like 1/4 inch high blister on one of them, but I accidentally tore it open and seeped body juice all over my dress shirt. So that was
very
good.
Nice. I did Top Golf on yesterday.
Top Golf?
Yes, Top Golf you've never heard of it.
Is that like disc golf?
It's actual golf, except it's not like you're on a course and you're trying to get it in, get a couple shots in the hole, pars or anything. Basically what this is that there's this big building with all kinds of bays. It's a multi-level building, and you shoot the ball out of the bay, and there's these targets, and the targets are fairly big targets. I mean, some of them are the size of like actual greens. And you get points for getting the ball into the target. The closer you get to the center, the more points you get.
Okay.
But like I said, it's actual golf. I mean, you're using drivers. I mean, my boss, he brought an entire bag of actual golf clubs and used them.
So it's It's
So it's kind of like an alternate game.
indoor. It's macro golf instead of mini golf. It's indoor
an
golf.
alternate golf game. It's still using clubs and a golf ball, but the goal is different. And so, of course, I have a frozen shoulder.
Yeah.
And it's been bad the last couple of weeks. So I was really careful with me. And my boss also has frozen shoulder, by the way. And it's so funny. He walks up to the tee. He goes up there. He gets his first shot. And he goes, wham! Hits it as hard as he can. He kills the heck out of the thing. The thing goes a mile. And the ball goes one way. Boss goes the other way. He's holding his shoulder. He's like in pain. He's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So that was amusing. I didn't do anything crazy like that. But it's kind of funny because yesterday my arm was fine. It didn't hurt it or anything. And then, the TSA and their security scanners, in addition to doing Topgolf yesterday, I was flying home the same day.
Mm-hmm.
And they have you do something I can't
put
do.
Your hands, you put your hands over your
put
head.
Your hands over your head. I was able to do it yesterday. I can't do it today.
Well,
so
if you played a lot of the Topgolf, you could have. So there's delayed onset muscle soreness. So about 48 hours after you use the muscle a lot, it starts hurting. So
it's not hurting.
Well,
it's just the range of motion is just like even less than it was. I could play Diablo for longer than half an hour. It's great.
Yeah.
That's the reason I haven't been playing is because it hurts to play for more than half an hour.
You should go get some acupuncture or chiropractic or something.
But anyway, yeah, that's that.
So we will chop you in the shoulder.
And of course, being home, I'm going to be streaming some more. You can check me out over at twitch.tv/Ronclay. Might be sticking to a more regular schedule too. We'll see how that goes. I kind of want to do something a little more with my channel, especially now that I've got like 1,500 followers.
Yeah, you should.
I would really love to make something of that. So hopefully I can come up
with
something that'll
work. You should plug my YouTube channel on your Twitch is what you should do.
Do I already?
I don't know.
I may already.
I think you have a link to my Twitch, but not to my YouTube.
Oh, YouTube? No.
Yeah.
I'm linking just to Twitch.
Well, while you're watching me play Necrodancer, you can cook good food.
Right?
Yeah.
Or you can do what I do and just go to Wendy's. Anyway, that'll do it for the Six Gaming Podcast this week. For the always absent Shosan, I'm Ronclay, and Dan, take it away.
See you, bye.